Anyways, let's move on. All right, so Karv, you've been playing the Race League. Apparently, well, I haven't touched any of it just because I feel like racing is completely different this go around. What would you like to talk about today about racing?
Well, there's a lot to talk about, but I think the biggest issue that's been on for ages now is the lack of interaction from ZiggyD. Like, we know ZiggyD is a company that communicates a lot with the community, but if you go to the race feedback forums, you don't see anything there, and it's starting to it's already a zoo because there has been good feedback. There's still people trying to give good feedback, but it seems that people are frustrated that ZiggyD doesn't we don't know what ZiggyD wants from the race. Do they want them to be casual things, get some points, get some sweet alternate art stuff, or do you want to make it competitive with like the signature races? Like, you have many of them. It's fixed seed. In my opinion, it's fixed seed to elevate the RNG in the long run. But then again, there's so much that will make the run either good or bad. Like, first of all, you need to know what you're doing. You have to know how to use your fry traps if you're a caster. If you overkill, for example, a shadow, you're going to lose so much XP and time. And then the biggest issue at the moment, especially for the signature race, in my opinion, is you're just rush to Northern Forest at like level 16 or 17. That's what you do, and then you farm it until the end. That's the case for like 99% of the people. And it has a big chance of a strong box in there. Okay, we all know that blue mobs give like 3, maybe 4 times more XP than a white mob. Then you open a strong box that has 3 magic mobs back on it. You're getting shit tons more XP that way. And like one race, I was at least half a level behind the top. I had one box with magic mobs, and suddenly I was the first to get the next level. And it's just, there's a bit too much RNG for the single race. I understand like endless ledge. People like
it's
it.
Like RNG is like the
like everyone has a chance
you
on
just take the RNG.
Yeah. But then again, I think people are a bit unhappy that they took sweep and like firestorm out of the boxes. It's a bit hard now, and especially if you don't drop the flasks. Having small life flasks at level 18 is it's not fun all the time. And,
I had a run like that recently.
Yeah, and now
that's endless ledge. Endless ledges are just for fun race for the most part.
Now combine the no life flasks to getting, the elementalist that cast elemental weakness and then they cold snap you, for example. You get pack of 10 of those. They are blue, they have powerful crits. Okay, that's your race. There's also the new in Act 4 mobs. You have these small dogs that give a frenzy to like other monsters when they die. And now with the buffed frenzy, anything that gets frenzy charges is going to be killing you really fast.
The freaking dischargers, man. Those dischargers in Endless Reg is suicide.
Yeah, they just
I got the frenzy guides next to Perpetus, killed a pack of them, didn't say Perpetus there, full frenzy charge Perpetus. Insta death.
Yeah.
So good.
And then there's like their rotation, endless ledges and descent champs and descents in every season. So let's say we have 30 endless ledges. What about if they split it up and had like 10 of each? I think some people at least would like to get a bit more spread out on the races. Like,
yeah, I see what they're doing with the rotation, the idea, but I think it's too early. Like, I think in the future, once they have more race types, having a rotation of them keeps it more fresh. So there's a new reason to come back and try the new season a little bit more. Like, try the thing that hasn't been there for a while. It builds excitement for the race type rather than just having them all on all the time. But because we basically only have Descent champs and Endless Ledge, it's like having a rotation at this point feels a little pointless. I think your first point probably merits more discussion, though, Karv, that about the lack of communication from GGG, because I'm definitely seeing a lot of races being driven away, or just kind of slowly losing enthusiasm and interest because of that lack of communication. And I honestly think racing is super essential to Path of Exile's long-term health. It's the thing that keeps people going through their, fatigue in the challenge leagues. It's great for like viewership on streams and stuff like that. There's so much more that could be done with racing that hasn't been done. And GGG did say that with they've sort of done this like new themes thing. Like they got the Blood Grip and they got the last one they had, and they said that with the last one it would be like a fresh start. It would be a chance for new people to jump into racing. But really that didn't really end up happening. Like they gave it a theme, which was kind of a nice little addition, but they didn't really kind of step beyond that. I think there's so much more that could be done with racing. I think it's so essential. So I'm certainly disappointed with that too.
I was talking with Uber Elite. He's a pretty good racer, and he was like, "Awesome games done quick actually wants to showcase PoE racing, like the big AGDQ. Like I think that's amazing." But I feel like the last 2 seasons, I haven't even played them because I haven't been like hyped up about it. But watching like people like Hellman, like one of the few people who really, really still kill it as duelist, or like even Moors, he loves to rant, but he's right. He's right about racing this season. Even Rise, Karv, it just seems like somewhere GGG dropped the ball on racing the past 2 seasons, and I think I normally don't like to call out a company like this because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. But it's like beta, we didn't have very much discussion on, like the community would be like, here's a problem, here's a problem, here's a problem, and we wouldn't get any feedback on that. And now it seems to be the same thing with racing. I'm not sure if that's intended, if they're trying to be not as, communicate not as much with us. I really don't know what's going on.
I think what's probably happening is that GGG is seeing the numbers from their perspective. There's not many people playing racing. Like people in chat are saying, it's probably only like 10-15% of people playing racing. That's why they're not devoting much time to it. But that's the thing. I think that's because they could be doing a lot more with it, and I think that number could be a lot higher. Because I make it my mission to, whenever I'm playing a race, to be like, guys, play this race. This race is going to be fun. This 20 Exile race right now. Do this thing, man. It's going to be good. And people are like, all right, I'll give it a go. They come back, man, I was Ziggy. I had so much fun. Like, everyone that I get into racing has a lot of fun with it. Because it can be such a fun thing, just even for casual players. And then having it be more competitive and a bit more exciting for players that like to race in all the races and stream them and things like that, then that gives a lot of interesting content for people to view. Content that's always happening, not just at the start of a new league.
Well, I think that the problem and the bottom line in it here lies within the amount of players actually participating in the races. I actually love racing, don't get me wrong. I'm having a tight schedule right now, which is why I don't really bother the races, because I know that I do not have time to participate in enough races, even though I would say that I'm an okay-ish racer. I'm not top 10, but I'm top 20-30. But there's a huge difference between being top 20-30 to being top 10. That's what differentiates the insane racers from the okay-ish ones. And I would say I'm an okay racer to some degree at least. But the problem is the amount of players being able to participate are usually, many people playing the game are not full-time streamers. They're not people who are sitting home or have the time to play at every race, being able to be in the top of this point-wise. The problem is that it's not really casual friendly, because I enjoy racing, but I barely do it because of the fact that I don't have time to reach any points, or most of the times don't have time to reach the points I wish to get for the rewards. And the only solution to do that would be, sort of a weekly based points gate. Like when you played ranked games in other games, such as World of Warcraft, you played a certain amount of games, you were receiving your points for your ranking at each Wednesday. They could do the same thing with GGG, where you play for a week and you play the certain races, and you would only get points for for a certain amount of races. And the best placement of those amount would be the ones rewarding you with points. Just an example. And that would actually attract more casual players to do races, because you can participate in the ones you have time for. I think that's the biggest issue, that to be receiving the top-end scores, you have to be either with a work that allows you to play, or without a job, or a full-time streamer or a YouTuber, and these type of approaches to be able to participate in a proper way. Because racing for me is to be there competing. That's what is attractive for me in terms of racing. That's why it's called racing. But in a casual, more lean back, or a tight scheduled playstyle, I would never be able to reach that amount of points to make it enjoyable for me. Well, that's
You'd be surprised, man. Like, Hellman's got a full-time job, and he freaking kills it still. I think the problem is I don't want to freaking grind out 500 points for Blood Dance boots. Like, I'm good.
I mean, there's different approaches to different people.
There's been less rewards, too. We get, like, what, 5 or 6 rewards? Normally, like, when racing first started, there was way more rewards, and they were, like...
They're doing more seasons, shorter seasons, I think, is the idea. Shorter and more
shorter
seasons.
But not as much points. And, like, Terranoid did bring up in chat, like... I'm not sure how this applies to everyone, but me personally, I agree with him. I'd much rather do a race that doesn't emulate the core of the game. Like, I want to do Endless Ledge. I want to do Descent Champions. Leave the 1 week and the 1 month races for emulation. But there are people like Rise who said in chat they love the, the core type races because it makes them a better player and they want to learn more about it.
Yeah, I mean, just don't get me wrong here. Not saying that we should like get the rewards easier. That's not what I'm looking for. It's just making it more easier for people to play in the actual races to get the points required for it. With that, I'm saying that only if you're a top racer would give you the best rewards, but making it more going away from you have to play these 10 races this week, and if you can't participate in half of them, you're never going to reach that point. But if you participate in a certain amount, you would get points depending on your position or rank for those specific races or a handful of these races. I do not want people to have easier time to get the rewards. I just want it to be easier to be able to participate and actually be in the competitive scene time-wise, but you still need the skills to be there.
I think we need more short fun races.
Yeah, like 4-hour party, I'm good.
People that only have like an hour or two to play. Something like a 30-minute race that starts at like a later point in the game. So maybe it's like this is a 30-minute race that starts in Act 2 at a certain point, and you have like a couple points you can spend right at the beginning there. And just like an accelerated start. ZiggyD mentioned that that was something they were going to look into ages back, was the idea of like, starting in Act 3 or something like that. Having more short races like that, think like the 20 Exiles, and then some of the things like Descent Champs and Endless Ledge and any new ones of those they can develop. Having some more short ones of those, short snappy ones, the 20-30 minute range, I think would be much more approachable for a lot of newer players to get them into racing.
There was someone saying in the chat that they don't like to play because they are worse than others. There's one way to change that, and that's play and practice like that. There are people who only play a couple races a week, and they are still beating everyone else just because they have played a lot before and they have practiced, and they don't whine about it. They get better.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
There's going to be a point when there's this skill gap. Like it's very high. Like in the end, it's very high, but it's not too hard to get in there. And at that point, what makes your race go well or go bad is to be do you get movement speed early on? What kind of layouts do you get if it's a non-fixed cheat? Like for example, Ship Graveyard. I don't know how many times you guys have run past that nowadays, but the old layout was that you follow the coast and you get there. That's like
that's zone now.
or 2 screens. Now you can have layouts where you have to take 5 or 6 screenshots before you can show the whole way from Prisoner's Gate to the cavern. But then again, we have fixed cheat races. I mean, the second race, so that works it out. But then it's the item RNG and the mob RNG that's gonna make. Like, I know a couple of people who are great racers. They will, like, there's the signature records. They will make records, but when they start the race, they kill Hillock. If they're Templar, they are killing Hillock twice because they are muling like Fire Trap. If they don't see movement speed on their vendor, they just log out. It's not worth playing because even if you play extremely well, if you had the movement speed, you would be 10 movement speed faster. And in the end, one or 2 minutes in the Northern Forest in the single race is going to make a big difference.
This is like in the top 5, maybe even just like the top 3 players. This is kind of like what it comes down to, is these sorts of little things at the moment. But really, to be honest, and I guess this is something that doesn't really get said much, but it's honestly not that hard to get to the point of being in like the top 20-ish to get to a decent proficiency in races. The competition there is much less, and that like there's kind of like 2 points at racing. There's what Karv's talking about, which is the top 3 players. So, but a lot of you guys who are like, I'm not going to be as good as these guys. You can get into the mechanic, like into the proficient point of racing where you're getting top 20s and stuff like that. I mean, look at me, right? I'm not a great player. I have a bit of knowledge, and I do a little bit of practice. I don't really plan that much. I wing most of my races, and I've been getting like pretty consistent like top 10s and stuff like that lately. Now I've been playing for quite some time, so that's it's a bit of experience and game knowledge. But that's what mostly racing is, to get into that top 20 point, to be into that point where you're starting to get some of the pretty significant point rewards for races.
Yeah.
It's basically just you watch someone else do a race, like someone who's good at racing do a race. You put out a bit of a plan for what skills you're going to get, what passes you're going to allocate, and what core pieces of gear or things you need to look out for, what quests you're going to do, stuff like that, whether you're going to get a Quicksilver, a couple basic things. So put a bit of an outline plan, maybe write it down on a piece of paper, and practice like 2 or 3 times, and you'll be to that point. It doesn't take that long at all to kind of get to that proficient point. You don't need to have like super reaction speed or super control or even the best positioning or anything like that. Just some basic kind of rudimentary knowledge and a little bit of practice will get you to that point where you're up to a pretty competitive point of racing, where you can start to enjoy that feeling of like, hey, I'm on the first page of the leaderboards. That's pretty exciting. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
And like there are the fun races, like the endless ledge it's great fun, especially if you get good RNG, get like a +1s and all the great gear. It's going to be a lot of fun. Same like with the Exiles Everywhere. It's a really fun race, but then again, returning to the Victory race on the Blood Grip race season, on the when you see the schedule, there's this wording. With duration ranging from minutes to 1 month, the allow players to demonstrate the mastery of Path of Exile, which implies it's like if you're good, you should people should see it from the rating, and that's why they made the signature race to actually see if who can and who is good. Like there's actually been a lot of new names and doing really good runs, so it's not impossible to get into the top. It's need watch couple races. There's a lot of people recording and streaming their racing, and you can if you ask, most of them tell why they do what they do and how they do it, and it's just observe and learn.
What are your thoughts right now? Like, what are the most popular abilities being used in racing? Is it still Flame Totem all the time?
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, it depends on the class. Like Shadow doesn't get the Flame Totem, so Shadow is Fire Trap.
Tendrils?
You're using don't really use Tendrils. Use Freeze Pulse, and then you get Flame Dash, which is amazing. And usually you get rid of Freeze Pulse for a Flame Surge, because when you have burning and you get the 50% more damage, it's amazing. And as a Witch and a Templar, it's a Fire Trap and a Dash and then Firestorm at level 12, and melee gets the Sweep usually at level 12 as well, playing like Cleave or Ground Slam or something before that.
Leap Slam got nerfed too hard. People are saying that 20% nerf to range is way too much, especially now that like Flame Totem's level 4, you have all these different things like Flame Dash coming out. Flame Dash should get a nerf too.
Yeah.
They did nerf the Flame Dash going towards Brutus. You could teleport up on the edge they were fighting.
Well, you would get Flame Dash after Brutus, so it was pretty pointless for racing anyways, wasn't it? That was a Brutus reward.
No, Flame Dash is rewarded when you reach the...
you don't have Flame Dash before
Yeah, you don't have Flame Dash before Brutus. You get it from Brutus, so
it helps only. It helps
only. Yeah, I could only use it in Cruel.
Unless you go to Cross.
but that's not the nerf that people are talking about. The range got a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So now when you used like shift click and you made like full screen dash, now it's like half screen or something. And at the sometimes you don't even like on the river base there's the broken bridge. You can't always dash through it, and that's a bit sad. But yeah, like it was maybe a bit too strong, but I don't think it deserved that big of a nerf. I don't know.
Racing is one of those things where it's like it's super important for the game, and perhaps maybe they should talk more with the community. I mean I haven't really played the past 2 race seasons. I have been up on top of reading the threads and whatnot on Reddit and in the Path of Exile forums, and I can understand your guys' point of view. A lot of your racers out there, where it's like ever since the PvP season, racing's just been kind of. It's not that it's the back seat; it just doesn't feel as nearly fun as it once was, or people are just. Here's the problems with the racing. We need this, and it's just question mark, nothing being said.
It's like so much attention played to PvP, and I appreciate that because Path of Exile's now, like I can say, Path of Exile's the best PvP action RPG out there.
No kappa.
Yeah, no kappa. But but like to me, like it's so much less. There's less players interested in PvP, and less players that could potentially ever become interested in PvP in an action RPG like this, which I think is primarily a PvE game. Whereas I think the potential for racing is way higher than what's being leveraged by the game at the moment. I think that's super important. An idea people mentioned a couple times in chats, and I've discussed a bit with some people before, is the idea of having like one asynchronous race each day, which is a race that runs for the entire day, but you can only play like half an hour, or whatever, how long the race is in it, and you can just do it at any time. So a way that you can, I feel like that would be nice for like the signature race for the season, to have like this kind of like asynchronous chance to compete in it, so that you don't need to be up at 2 a.m. to be able to be competitive through the season for those fixed seeds at least. Pardon?
No, that's a great solution. I like that idea as well. It's perfect. That would allow more players to actually participate and still would be skill-based.
I wouldn't want every race to be like that, because I do like the feeling of everyone runs into town at the same time and feeling like you're racing with everyone else. I think that kind of builds excitement, that being at a specific time is quite fun, and that's good
for the launch of such a race. People will still be there for this launch.
That thing has one issue, true. And maybe. That's people saying that then the best players just farm with many different accounts and crash the prices of the alternate items, but I don't see that really a problem.
There's maybe a possibility for that.
Just to clarify on PvP, it's not that we're bagging PvP or saying it was awful or anything like that. It's just the race season, the past 2 race season haven't been hyped nearly as much as that. Heck, last season, Bloodlines and Torment, that was the theme. PvP, Leo, new master, awesome. Here's all this cool racing stuff.
Oh, like, yeah.
Racing hasn't been hyped nearly as much. And not saying that PvP fully got everything it deserved. I think that was more an experimentation. There was only like 2 people at GGG really working on it. So
yeah,
it's just.
I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, totally. Don't get me wrong on that. I love the focus they put into PvP. I just think that it's strange that to me that racing hasn't gotten that much focus as well. Given that I think the potential for it is much higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it just seems like racing would, like from a business standpoint, people love racing. A lot more people participate in racing. Let's give it the hype it deserves. Let's clean it up the way it needs to be cleaned up. And more people would go back to it that haven't been really doing it. And more people would be more inclined to try it and make it more competitive. Racing is definitely a good spot for them to put a lot of effort.
It honestly needs to be advertised as a core feature of the game, because that's what I think it can and should be. Like, the communication is horrible, the descriptions of the races are horrible. They don't even tell you what the modifiers are in the races, in the race descriptions. It needs to be much more front and center and much better communicated to the community. But this is like, play this because this is something that's going to be fun. Like, I didn't even know that the exiles everywhere was going to be 20 exiles per zone. I thought it was the 1 exile per zone thing. So that must be like Rogue or something like that, some with a name. But because the descriptions aren't in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, but if you had to like communicate to this, it's like, guys, bam, check out this. There's going to be this race with 20 exiles and everywhere. There's going to be loot explosions everywhere, guys. It's going to be heaps of fun. Get in there. Get in here. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm doing that whenever I'm streaming the races, but there's none of that from GGG really, apart from like the little pop-ups about it, I guess.
Yeah, when you press tab and you look at the mods, like exiles are in zones. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, famine. What's that? And
yeah, the actual race thing here, like if I go into like Blood Magic Party here on the race thing, it doesn't really actually explain what the race is. It just lists out the points, and that's basically it. It doesn't actually say, hey, what's this? You know, what does blimp even mean? It doesn't describe what the actual race is and why it's exciting. The communication of it's horrible.
There's actually a link on every race thread to a thread where you can see all the mods and that, but I agree it should be on the actual...
Yeah, totally, it should be on the actual page, 100%.
Yeah.
But back to the other problems in the racing is, you know, the vendors, they sell, occasionally, they sell some stuff that might help you or getting like stats. So if you ever played a Templar or a Witch and you get the Flame Totem or a Fire Trap and you're going somewhat fast and hoping to get kill some mobs throwing Fire Traps and that, and you get a bit unlucky with items, you don't get a Jade Amulet or anything. I don't know how it would hurt the game that at certain level, say like 8 or just a random level, like before 10, Nessa would have all types of amulets. The
RNG in the vendors is maybe a little
it,
strange for stuff like that, like base wide items.
Yeah, like
I guess I can see like later on for crafting items and stuff like that, maybe it should be RNG, but for racing, yeah, having those be more available and less RNG based.
Yeah, because if you don't get the Dex or Strength or Dex and Strength if you're a Witch, you're going to lack of the gem levels, which means two things. You either have to sacrifice your own DPS to get the stats, which in the end that means that you're going to be killing stuff slower. So in the end, it's going to I'm not going to say ruin your race, but it's going to make a big bad thing on your XP later on because you're lacking some DPS, and like I don't really see why or how it would be bad thing for the game. I think even like when you're not racing and you're making like new character, don't have anything, and then you're lacking some like Dex and trying to level up gems. It's really annoying that you can't do it just because the vendor didn't have anything or you didn't get any drops that would help you out leveling your gems.
I mean, would you prefer in this situation that the vendor had like 1 wand of each, plus 1 fire, plus 1 lightning, plus 1 cold, and that the Darkly vendor had a movement speed boost to roll that? Would you prefer that the both vendor had them, or would you prefer that they didn't have them? What you say? Because I mean, in the start, at least when you're playing Shadow, for example, you are spending 1 wisdom scroll to purchase the freezing pulse in the start. That leaves you with 2 wisdom scrolls, and that means you can only afford buying either a weapon or the boots. Would you prefer to have both of them directly either available or none of them existing from the vendors?
Well, I would say for like normal game, they shouldn't. But then again, GGG has like for endless sets. That's a big RNG race. It's fun to play in its own way. I don't see why they couldn't make a type of race. Like they can make races that end in void, like Descent Champs and stuff like that, where they just give you all the currency you need ever to craft what you need. So I see a possibility for that, but I'd rather have a race where the character starts with, say, the movement speed already, or
I'm going to interject.
Something like that.
I have to. RNG is what makes ARPGs good. Yes, I understand racing because it's such a small time. RNG has such a big impact on it, but that's what also can allow someone who isn't the best racer to get a top prize once in a while. And the same side, one of the best racers has bad RNG. They're not being the best racer right now. RNG does add an element to racing that I think is good. It's just when it's too much RNG. You find an acceleration shrine, and then they're all magic packs. Well, I got an acceleration shrine and I got magic packs. Yeah, that's a little... that I can understand the frustration there. But on top of that, he found move speed and plus 1 scepter with fire, I can understand the frustration, but that's what ARPGs are.
And on the other hand, that's pretty contradictory as well, saying that that the best racer would not have as good RNG, so then he's not the best racer.
Well, the best racer knows how to
Yeah, but
manage
still-
RNG, knows how
Exactly
to
what Ziggy
mitigate
said.
the effects of bad RNG, and how to give themselves the best possible opportunities for good RNG to occur. Managing RNG is part of the strategy in action RPG.
Which is the
I think it's
reason
a
why
core
there's-
racing skill.
That's why there's vendor recipes to handle RNG that isn't present. There's a move speed, pair of boots recipe, but then again, you have to find 3 Quicksilvers because 2 Quicksilvers I think is still better than move speed boots, right? I'm not sure. And then there's +1. There's +1 to wands and scepters you can always make too. Yes, stat amulets. You're gonna get bad RNG, but come on, more times than not, you should be able to find your stat amulet. You just might have to check every level until you get it. I don't know.
Yeah, and when you every time you check it, you lose. Like it's only for like when you are trying to make the records. That's when it really matters. But we already have the races where the RNG is the biggest portion, and like they are making many single races okay, I'm not saying that they are doing it because of that, but I assume it's something around that when you have many races, it's fixed seat, so the layout doesn't hurt or help anyone, and you have many races, so you have many tries to actually eliminate the RNG. That they are all like, it seems that they are already trying to do it, but they are leaving. Like of course there's always going to be some kind of RNG. Your range of your damage. Do you crit? What kind of mobs you get? Obviously. How does the monster AI work when you kill the first monkey? Does everyone else run away? Like there's always going to be RNG that can be.
If they remove shrines, shrines and like that, I can understand. But like, you're not finding stat amulet. I mean, that's really, not that frequent where that actually happens. I don't know. You're playing a fire trapper as a witch. You need dex, so you hope for a jade somewhere. I mean, more times than not, the vendor will have it. And yeah, you have to have the one transmute. Do you use that transmute to get lucky move speed on boots? That's the kind of racing I like. Now, RNG to a degree is pretty bad for racing, but it's still important to have some. When you're doing endless ledge, like you said, you get the elemental weakness cold snappers with dischargers. Your second map, what are you going to do? That's the scary stuff. Just run right through it as fast as you can.
I kind of like Karv's point that there are those races like Endless Ledge which have a lot of RNG, and that's fine. They can be like that. I think maybe it would be nice to have the fixed seed races be a little less RNG. I don't know. It could be things like removing lockboxes, or have the lockboxes set on each map. They spawn in set locations that everybody gets, or it's like maybe making that race a little less RNG heavy, so that the top players can focus on the competition a little bit more. But just doing it in that race and leaving the RNG fairly intact in the other types of races.
Skill definitely outweighs RNG in this game, and RNG
100%. Knowledge
it's
outweighs
happen.
RNG.
You're right. Skill, like a skilled player, in say like 99% of cases will win the less skilled player, even he had great RNG. But then you have 2 skilled players. The other guy doesn't have anything. The second guy has everything he can. He will just destroy the other guy, and that's the only problem in the signature records. Is that the best records are done with by a good player with insanely good RNG in the end.
I mean, that's part of the game. You don't want too much of it. You don't want too much of it. Yeah, not everyone's going to find a 15% move speed, in Act 1, if that's even possible, which I think it is. Not everyone's going to find, that jade necklace with cast speed, and there's your dex requirement, cast speed. It's just what it is. You're going to have those good runs and bad runs.
I'm not trying to sound like everything should be that way. But like some people are saying, I think actually many people agree that, or feel somewhat that maps and map drop have been balanced by the top 0.1%. There has been a lot of outcry because of that. So I don't see why there wouldn't be a chance to make one event in the race season for the guys who really want to compete. Like it has never been done, so we really don't know how popular it would be. Like it hasn't been tested, so it's really hard to say what would happen.
Yeah.
So I think we can all agree then that we'd like to see a lot more attention paid here. Me especially to the promotion, communication, discussion of racing, and to adding more shorter fun races and stuff for the average player to get into. I think there's many more percent people that could be playing racing, and there's obviously a lot of work that can be done for the high-end races as well to keep them motivated and to keep them trying to continue competing up at Karv's end of the side.
Like I feel that many of the like even better racers I am, like I don't call myself a tier 1 racer. I get every time couple people play, I get dumpstered by them. If we have similar, like somewhat same energy, I will get always dumpstered by them. It like doesn't matter what race it is, when it is, 3 a.m. anything. Like I will lose. But these people are like they are so frustrated when the RNG doesn't enable them to do what they should be, like what they could do. Like that's like I'm not gonna say it's a big problem, but that will like until there's something that can enable this, I think the racing like can never be called too competitive in the end. Obviously the skill matters, but just in the top it's gonna make a difference. Like I played like I have very mixed feelings with the Endless Ledge. I like the idea of the race a lot, but they could make it so much better with just couple changes.
It was like really just like a let's just throw together like a super fast race mode, but maybe no, that's been in for quite some time. I mean, people love Endless Ledge. I love Endless Ledge. It's one of my favorite races, but maybe it's time to do a little more work on it. Maybe.
We need new races too. Like remember, like it was Descent. Descent came out, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" Then we had Endless Ledge more, then Descent Champions, and then it's just been since Invasion. We really haven't had too much new stuff. We have the new themes, Ember Wake, and the new one from this season, but it's still like it just feels the same old with a lot of people like Karv here making very good points, and there's no response from GGG. Everyone can be, everyone's entitled to their opinion on racing. But really, we just need to hear from GGG. What the heck?
Yeah.
What is their incentive? What are their plans with racing right now? We need to hear that.
Yeah. What do they want out of racing, and why haven't they given it more focus?
Just need to hear something. In before developer manifesto.
Zeno, when you said about like we need new races, do you guys remember the times when there were no ghosts, bloodlines, nemesis, Stormbreaker shrines? What about a race that is, I call it vanilla race, which wouldn't have any of these new things that have been added to the game? So it would be kind of a blank game.
No corrupted zones, no boxes, no shrines. Basically, just closed beta. The original closed beta. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like that.
A vanilla race would be.
That's very skill oriented, very little RNG oriented. I like that.
They could take it even further and like get rid of a lot of like newer items and stuff like that, and cut it back to like old patch style.
Yeah, and like in the past, like there have been signature races where they're buffing the monsters, like last season, like extra fire damage and faster. There was some talk about in the forums that what if they made it like other way around, that they would boost the characters a lot, like give us insane movement speed, cast speed, attack speed, more damage. Like what would happen if you basically make the game like you just destroy everything? Like everyone enjoys powerful builds and going fast, but if they made a race where you are just borderline OP and see what happens.
It would make god races or something where you're extremely buffed in one way or another.
Yeah.
or just extremely buff depending on different zones, like super speed here, super damage here, super HP here, move. That would be actually a pretty cool type of racing, and that would all bring something new to the scene.
I think that was Rise's point about the signature races, that they should be a player buff rather than like an arbitrary challenge edition. And I guess Blood Grip kind of did that.
Yeah, I think it tried like it was attempt to do it that way.
It was an attempt, so hopefully we say more of that.
But the only thing it actually makes a difference is like Marauder and Duelist if you're two-handed, and even then you're like you see the tiny little bubbles surrounding enemies, but they don't really do much.
You know,
sadly,
people love the flashback race, the 1 month. Maybe do like a flashback theme where an actual race season where it's like you said, no RNG, new additions from leagues, but at the same time give legacy rewards, just only legacy rewards. You know, like Brutus Sprinkler or something as an example. Yeah. Just fun stuff like that. That'd be pretty damn cool. I would play I would play that. Yeah.
Literally a rollback league.
Yeah.
There was someone on chat saying that. Why not make a separate skill tree? I think it might be a bit too much work, but but it could be fun.
You know what I would like to see in the race seasons coming up, not this one, but in the future? I would like to see there to be optional rewards, like, hey, you've reached 10 points. Now you get to choose this one or this one. Yeah. Or now you've reached next bay. You can choose from this one or this one. Open up and give more different rewards, not giving more rewards, but giving different rewards so you get to choose, rather than getting these bland, boring stuffs. And I mean, I can tell you from my point of view that I'm not even gonna race for the fun of it during the Blood Grip, because I didn't like any of the rewards whatsoever. There was no goals for me, because I didn't like any of the rewards.
Blood Dance for 500 points is really cool. So,
I don't ever play that.
Ghazzy, are you suggesting we augment our racing experience? That's a little bit of a current gaming news reference there.
Well, it would be fun to be able to choose, you know. I mean, the season before that, the Wrathpith Globe, amazing. I would love that. But I mean, if they had another shield, it would be more attractive for other players who don't really play that type of builds using that shield. And that
Aegis and Wrathpith Globe, boom, done. Choose one. You only get one. But you could still one from the random race rewards. I love those. Oh my god. When you're doing a race and then you get like that Moku's Embrace was the last one I really took a lot of. Moku's Embrace was one of the default ones, and I ended up getting like 4 of those, 5 of those, just from partaking in races, on top of the ones I won, you know, just by default. I love that.
Give stash tabs as rewards.
Oh, please.
I promise people will start racing.
But that's pay to win. Stash tabs are pay to win. Oh my god.
That's how you
mean play to win.
Attracts new players to the race season. You give stash tabs for every 10th point. Everyone would play.
Yes.
Then GGD would make no money. Ongoing. I think it's time for Q&A. We're getting a little ridiculous here. Well, Karv, I want to thank you, though. You've done a lot more racing than I have the past 2 seasons, and you have very good points. And I wanted to just clear the air. You know, I wasn't disagreeing with anything he said at all. You know, I think that RNG is important to racing, but I do agree with him where, you know, oh, look, I got a Magic Pack box, and then that box dropped something really good. Yay. You know, it's
I think it's a question of extent.
Yeah, the extent is a little bit too much.
Right.
But, you know, not finding your Jade Amulet or your Lapis Amulet, deal with it. That happens from time to time.
That was good. I'm glad we...
a bit more time to others.
I'm glad we discussed racing so much this episode. Right. Shall I bring up some Q&A?
Do it.
Q&A. All right. Sorry, guys, I couldn't copy-paste your names. They've changed. Twitch works, and I can't copy-paste the name for some reason. So these are all from Anonymous. What do you guys think about... Hold on, wait. Where is it? Here we go. What would you guys do if Pt.2 would suddenly vanish and we were back to no more shop indexes? We did actually have a time recently where that happened, where Pt.2 went down, and there was utter chaos and anarchy. What do you guys think? What would you do if Pt.2 went down? Self-found builds.
Yeah, everyone plays self-found CI Melee and you don't have any problems. That's right.
Self-found CI Melee and don't have problems? I don't know if that you can really call that not having problems.
No problems trading.
Yeah, it's the recent downtime of Pt.2 definitely highlighted the issue there of trade system improvements that need to occur in PoE. And you know, ZiggyD have said it's something that's planned for the future. It wasn't really I guess wasn't really a focus for this last major patch, but maybe it'd be something for the next major patch or expansion that we get. I think that maybe they, and I can totally understand this as well. I think maybe they rely on the fact that we do have such good community tools, which you know, are probably like a damn sight better than what they could make without significant effort as well. So from their perspective, it makes a lot more sense to just give better. And then they have done this recently too. They have done trading improvements recently by giving better tools to people like that make PoE trade and things like that. So it makes sense from their perspective to just make it easier for the community to make these tools. But yeah, the recent downtime, like the fact that we all rely on one guy. There's one guy who runs PoE trade, and
he also runs acquisition.
Yeah, and if he like, I don't know. It gets like in an accident or goes on a holiday or something like that and the site goes down, we're all screwed. So, I mean, someone would eventually make some other sort of a site, but there'd be a good while there where we're all kind of just screwed. So, it's a little tenuous. It's a little tenuous, I feel.
We can't forget all the privately made indexers that is being used on the market as well, where people are creating their own indexer to, you know, send a message to your phone saying, hey, this is now up on the market, for searching for specific items on the forums and stuff like that, not just the trade forums. We have
Are you talking about Mirrorgate?
Sorry?
Are you talking about Mirrorgate?
Well, you get the point with that being an existing tool for those who are able to create the indexers themselves, and this is a very commonly used tool for, well, would not like to say scamming, but it would be it is a very common tool to get, you know, for example, Mirror of Calandra or Chavs or higher tier uniques for a very low price for someone who doesn't know the actual value, a newer player being taken advantage of because someone has an indexer telling them, hey, this is up on the market. They get that off before he gets messaged by other people. We have a big theory behind this from other people. Not going to go into that topic, but having GGG releasing an in-game trading system would actually be preferable for everyone. I think I just can't see any downsides to it.
Yeah, and I think an asynchronous trading system could also complement things like PoE trade too. Just the ability to trade with people while they're offline, you know, through a web browser, things like that. What they've mentioned would be a massive enhancement to the PoE trade experience.
Honestly,
and would give us more ways of doing things.
2 years ago, we were teased about trade. I think everyone's like at their wits' end. They fixed desync. Great. Next step, trade. Let's do it. Because everyone's tired of seeing AFK and not online. And third party, like, there's no reason there isn't something yet. Or just hire the guy and incorporate it in game. Screw it. You know,
it's the next major quality of life improvement, really, isn't it?
I mean, it's more at this point. It's not even quality of life. It's like it is life. This is what keeps PoE going. If it weren't for PoE.trade, PoE would not be played nearly as much as it is right now. Yeah,
well, it's a game balanced around trading, and trading is a huge part of it for sure. You can play self-found, and it's become more and more viable over time for sure. But yeah, it's such a huge part of the actual core game.
Yeah. Next question.
From, I think this was from Madam. I sorry, I can't copy paste the names again. If you guys could make a Vaal skill, what would it be? We haven't had much Vaal love in quite some time, apart from the recent remounts.
We had Vaal Purity of Elements, which is Gluttony of Elements.
Guess so, yeah. I guess so. It's Ghazzy, it looks like you have something.
Vaal Summoned Siri.
Vaal Summoned Siri? That's not how Vaal skills work, Ghazzy.
I want the four-titted bitch to run around with me. That would be awesome. That would be like the pedestal of a summoner.
So,
Siri running with
Vaal summons Spectre and it summons an Ant Siri, maybe.
She doesn't have to do anything. She just has to run with me, and I'd be using 10 of them. Permanent.
Okay. We're going to put a pin in that one. Zeno or Karv, do you guys have an idea?
Let's see. You know, summoners, that'd be pretty cool, but Vaal Haste is just so strong right now, so it'd be hard for them to make any Vaal summon because it would just take charges from Vaal Haste. I do like the whole Vaal Aura thing. More Vaal Auras would be pretty nice. Any of them, really.
Nah, no, don't, please.
Vaal Determination.
I feel like Vaal Aura is the most boring and the strongest most of the time, which is kind of
Hey, man, they're awesome.
Because they reduce the amount of other interesting Vaal skills that I use, because they're like, sure, I could run one of these other interesting Vaal spells, but I could just run Vaal Haste.
They're the most boring and used the most
Volcanic
because
Grace.
you get Vaal Spectral Throw, and you're like, cool, the Exile's using Vaal Spectral Throw. I can kill her now, no problem.
Yeah, but Zeno, we have other cool things like
what I
Vaal
mean?
Burning Arrow and stuff that we can use.
Vaal Burning Arrow is godlike.
Vaal Sparks and
It is
stuff like that. I'd like to
godlike.
see more of those skills being used. I like what they were
Vaal
intended.
Ice
It's some
Crash.
sort of like epic
oh
finisher.
My. Vaal Ice Crash, I would go nuts over.
Where's the Vaal Smoke Mine?
I would like to see something like Vaal and then insert some kind of support gem. Like, let's say Vaal increase chaos damage. Let's make it like give less of a bonus for regular attacks, and then you get the souls. You have extra version of your skill. Then it would like say convert all your damage to chaos, or like something with the support gems.
I like the damage conversion.
I had to
I'm
do
surprised they haven't come out with an MTX. They haven't talked with Twitch. You know, they have the Razor footprints. They should make a a Summon Raging Kappa instead of Raging Spirit. It's just a Kappa head.
Oh god, that'd be so good.
I'd buy it without a doubt.
They would make so much money off of Summon Raging Kappa. And the Divine
Oh, they
Orb to be
really
Resident
would.
Sleeper.
I like someone's like Vaal summon party to summon some friends to map with.
Oh my
Vaal
God.
Convocation, I guess. Summons your friends list to the map.
Yeah.
Or you're doing Uber? Here,
Convocate friends.
Next question.
So-
Oh my god.
Oh, that was good. That's good. Okay. Do you think removing race rewards and instead promoting racing as a more skill-based thing would be a good idea? As a fellow streamer, this is from Rise, I think, I constantly hear stuff like, I don't race because I'll never get 500 points, and it really frustrates me. I feel like people that race anyway don't care about rewards, but it pushes away new players because of that mentality. I have to agree, I couldn't give a shit about the rewards. I race because it's freaking fun, and I feel like people do focus a lot on the rewards, but I totally understand that a lot of people do want rewards. I don't know, I don't see removing rewards to be a good solution. They're there for the people. They're not. I mean, rewards aren't there for the people that don't care about them, right? They're there for the people that do care about them. And I don't think rewards are stopping people from racing. I think it's just an excuse, right? Just like desync was an excuse to not play hardcore for many people that just didn't want to play hardcore, and it was just a convenient excuse. What do you guys think?
I think it goes both ways. You know, some people are like, well, I have 4 hours to play this game. I can work on my main character. I'd rather play the core of the game because I won't ever have enough points to get the item I really want from racing, so instead I'll just play the core game. You know, some people think like that. You know, not everyone plays this full-time like us bums. Anyways.
I mean, I get the point that people don't play because of the... I mean, 500 points is reachable even if you're not good. We said before during the race rant, both you and I, Ziggy, are capable of doing top 10 with some game experience. I know I'm at least top 20 when I'm playing, sometimes top 30, but still, getting 500 points just requires me to be able to participate in each race. Even though I'm not very good at them, I just need to be participating in them. That's the problem I was talking about before. I would love them to see us allowing casual players to take part, but make sure that just because you're limiting the amount of races or making it easier for casual players to actually participate in races doesn't mean they should get the rewards easier. You need to be talented racers to reach higher points, and we're talking about the 1,000-point mark. 500 points should be reachable by mediocre players. I think they should. But that also shouldn't force them to go up 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning, like 3 hours before they're going to work, just to do a race, then go back to bed, then go to work. I mean, you can wear yourself out in real life just in participating in these races, and that would be easier for the people playing full-time streaming, YouTubers, or not have a work to begin with, but those guys are actually working. It could be hard for them to participate in enough races to do this at the same time as keeping a social life.
A daily asynchronous race where if you were to compete in nearly all of the daily let's say like if you competed in all of the daily asynchronous races, you'd get to the 500-point reward and got a couple points in each. Then I feel like that might be a pretty good solution. Or you could have people do most of them and then do some extra races.
I like that because most of the races are I feel like NA has really good this season. I was looking at the times, I was like, wow, NA has much much better time zones than other people. Now, obviously, you can stay awake, but I can't even say what you just said, Ziggy, because I'm stupid. But if they have the race where it's over a 24-hour time period, let's say it's a 1 hour race, at any point in time during that 1 hour, you can do it. Asynchronistic, right?
Asynchronous.
English. It's my main language, can't you tell? I think it would be really, really good for the game.
Dumbing it down, like, it's been common, talk about it with some other guys I'm cooperating with other projects. We are talking about it quite often, actually. Games that grow to be super big are casualized. And when I say that, it's dumbing it down to make it easier and being more casual friendly. And that's the winning concept of a game growing. It's all been proven so many times over. Now, Path of Exile is attractive for me most of the part because it is as complex as it is. Now, the racing doesn't have enough players, but separating the core players from the casual players is already there. And if they just maintain that at the same time as making it more casual friendly would allow a ton of more players to play it. And then with my other suggestion of having, different rewards that you can actually choose which reward you wanted to get when you reach a certain amount of points would attract even more players. And it's not about the rewards for many top core races. They do it for the thrill of being ranked and competitive and doing it. The reward is just a bonus. But it's all about attracting new players or more players to actually do it. And I think that because of the fact that reaching these amount of points is at the moment requiring you to, screw over your social life and schedule to actually participate if you're not a super good racer to get enough points in less races, is scaring away a lot of players, including myself.
Yeah.
What do we got? Oh, good, Karv.
They're like, I personally don't play for the rewards at all. I mostly play because I want to get better, and the rewards are just like icing in the cake, and like the 1,000 reward is for some people it's just for bragging rights, but and then again some people think about like a big achievement that if you make it, you can feel that you're getting better, and like when I had a big break from racing because I was in the army for 1 year, and then I didn't play for like many seasons, and then I came back. I was so bad at the time, but I wanted to get better, and that's what I'm racing. I want to get better, and I watched people play races. I observed what they did, thought about it myself. I actually practiced in close beta when there's like the whole new progression. I actually run the game from Act 1 to QoL, so I get the progression of the 4 acts. I did it tens, not maybe like dozen times, but at least 10 times. And every time I bettered my time by at least like a minute or two, I felt so good because I was better this time than I was before. But then again, there are people who want alternate rewards to make them look their character look more better, like in standard and that. Oh, and talking about that, GGG, if you want to make money, give us MTX that we can change the alternate rewards to MTX and we can use them.
We brought that up to Chris Wilson, and he said that it's something they look into, but it's actually very, very hard for them to do. That was on an interview we did with them, 20 episodes ago, 10 episodes ago. It was asked a while ago, and they said it was very hard to do, but it's something that they're looking into.
I mean, it doesn't feel hard. I mean, well, obviously it is because you got the information. But I mean,
I'm not a programmer. I can tell you it's hard or not.
Always beware of armchair development.
Applied to an item, it would be. It feels logically, just briefly thinking about it, that you could just move the item over to that window and just allow the effect to go to the next item. I know, but I mean, it's
unfortunately code doesn't work that way. Code, just do the thing I want you to do.
The typical non-programmer question is like, do this, and like, oh, dude, that's like 2 weeks of work. Yeah, but I mean, it's just moving that 2 pixels.
It's easy. I just want this thing to do this.
Remember, there's IDs associated with that item. There's all sorts of different things too to look into, Ghazzy, that we don't know about. No, exactly. It may seem easy on paper because it's just pixels, but I'm sure there's other things involved with it. What do we got for our next question?
What are your guys' opinions about Flasks? There are opinions out there saying that they are the reason we have these crazy spike damages in the game. What's your opinion about the idea of nerfing Flasks so that we could tone down the spike damage?
Honestly, they just buffed Flasks. We've been getting buffs to Flasks every league, and I prefer more Flask-type gameplay and rewarding you for speccing correctly rather than nerfing Flasks. And because right now we already have a ton of spike damage. We already have a bunch of things we need to worry about, and Flasks are like our saving grace. I don't think nerfing them and then changing other things would be, I don't know. What do you guys think? I honestly, I love the way our Flasks are right now. This is something that's been needed for a long time. Lower levels, more instant Flasks, buffs to Flask recovery. I don't know. It's just been something that's like Flasks always felt like they were good, but now they're just like really solid, and you want to spec around them.
Yeah.
I mean, balance certain mods. Don't make crit Flask guaranteed to fill up so fast, if not even remove that mod, in my opinion, and make sure animation Flasks are actually doing something. Then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, of animation could be better. When mobs, when summoners Flasks have, when zombies have like 5 times to 6 times as much health as you do, 60% of a Flask is fuck all.
Okay, let me just put it this way. What type of HP do you think a zombie has at a high level?
Oh, 22k plus, right?
My zombies currently have, without minion life, just DPSing zombies have 28,000.
Jeez. What's 60% of a hollowed gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, Convocation is even worse. Now, my Animate Guardian is level 21. He has, without gear, without any links, he has 30,000 HP. That's it. That's his effective HP pool.
Honestly, Convocation just needs to be percentage-based recovery, not flat.
Exactly. Same thing with animation percent of the actual minion, and that problem will be solved. But no, it's not. It's sad. It's sad. I mean,
really
there's no way I can regen my life. It's on the minions. It's completely stupid.
I love the Flask mechanics in this game, though. There's definitely a few things like surgeons and of animation and stuff like you guys are talking about that need a little bit of fixing. But the Flask mechanic system in this game is, I think, one of the game's most innovative and awesome things. And the buffs that they've been doing have promoted like people paying more attention to the importance of Flasks in gameplay, which has been good. This kind of does touch on a different topic, though, which is fairly related. This idea of having like a staggered damage. Which has been brought up a couple times before, and I've talked about a little bit before. But the idea is that, let's say you take a huge amount of damage, like let's say more than 50% of your life in one hit, then the damage, rather than applying instantly, is applied over a very short period of time. So something like half a second, or even a quarter of a second, or something like that. So rather than it being an insta one-shot, there's a small time to react there. Now, that I think would be potentially an improvement for the game, around this idea of the game being, you know, really crazy spike damagey. But at the same time, Flasks would need to be rebalanced in terms of insta-healing Flasks, because good players would be able to keep themselves alive just by spamming insta-heal Flasks if there was some sort of staggering effect. I think this idea of a staggering effect could have potential in the game. That's something I'd potentially like to see. But insta-heal Flasks would certainly need to be rebalanced if that was a thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it would be so powerful to have the good Flasks versus that.
Yeah.
But it definitely sounds like a good idea.
Have you guys thought of, Zeno, have you thought about the idea of like kind of like a staggering effect on damage taken for large amounts or something? It could be like a threshold system, so based on the percentage of your life taken or something.
I don't know. I like how this game rewards people with good reaction time, or how you develop good reaction time. Staggering type effects.
Well, this would reward good reaction time, I think.
Yeah.
Because the staggering effect gives you a period of time to react to a something that would have just outright one-shot you before, where there was no reaction, right? You got one shot. It happened instantly. There's no chance to react. There's no player skill involved in that outside of you shouldn't have got yourself into that situation. I'd like to see some sort of like staggering, so it's like you have a quarter of a second to react or something.
I mean,
to
the
do
actual
something to help mitigate.
I
think people confuse the term one shot with gib, insta-gib. One shot means one hit KO dead. Insta-gib is a series of burst damage all at once that got you within a split second. And there's a big difference. Insta-gibs happen far more than the actual one-shot. You know, you see those videos on Reddit where the guy with 9k health Cycloner got one shot, and you're like, whoa! But that is like perfect storm, the stars aligned, you die. those are actually quite rare compared to the Instagib type. And honestly, like, my only beef right now at the game is 25% more damage across the board. Everything is dealing. But at the same time, you look at old videos from 2 years ago. A guy with nice clear speed had 30k DPS and he was a god. Now it's like if your build has 30k DPS, everyone thinks you're a trash bag. You know, so it's like power creep is real. Everything's going to change constantly.
How about a few million Radiant Spirit DPS?
Global, Instagib. You know, it's I don't know, like whatever you want to call it. Like a one shot is completely different than taking like a 4k hit. There's a big difference.
So yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'm not sure if that was an argument or even related to this topic, because
no, I mean,
let's say if you take like 10 1k hits and you have the 10k life within like, you know, a fraction of a second, or, you know, if you take it over the course of 1 second, then you have time to react. That's fine. This is not really for that. This is for those situations where you're taking 50% or plus of your life in one hit. So,
so apparently Instagib is a one shot, which
yeah,
I meant global damage, like where you take a series of a bunch of big hits all at once. My apologies, everybody out there. My apologies. No need to be like, baby rage, Zeno, look at me. But you know what I mean. I'm sorry, I made a fool of myself. I made a mistake. I am human. Can I have your apology, please? Put me on Reddit. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Next question. Let's go.
Okay. We didn't get many questions. All right, here we go. What do you guys think about the vacuum farming method? Have you guys seen the vacuum farming action?
Amazing.
Would you like to explain it for people that haven't seen much of vacuum farming, Karv?
Yeah. So you make you cyclone and you gather all the mobs on you, and you make a ghost map. So the ghost dots all of the mobs, and you get insane amount of loots, and crash your games more than often. It's amazing.
And it still needs a nerf. It still needs nerfing.
Yeah, it does need a nerf, but it's amazing.
It was
I haven't
nerfed
done
a bit,
it, but
it
looks
still
amazing.
happening a bit. People were making loot filters to specifically hide out pretty much everything except currency and uniques, because so much stuff was dropping and the labels would crash their game. So too much loot that you're crashing the game. I mean, it's balanced in my mind. If the game's crashing, then they can't pick up the loot. Seems balanced to me.
Yeah.
The problem I see with it, excluding that it's still doable, is the fact you can actually farm gambler cards, which is pretty interesting, because gambler cards is currently the only community-known way of farming House of Mirror cards. I'm still hunting and looking for rumors of where the mirror card can still drop, and I've been farming countless of areas for them. But farming gambler cards with vacuum hunting, with the ghost busting, whatever you want to call it, is the best way of finding mirror cards. And it's stupid, and it's still doable.
MFing is one of those things where it's like people either love it or they just like have no interest in it. And people always find a way to get loot in an action RPG, a very loot-based game. Leagues are temporary, it's leaving. I mean, Standard League already is what it is. I don't know. It has an impact on the economy. Everything has an impact on the economy, whether you look at it one way or not. They've already tried their best to try and adjust it. We'll probably see more of it in the future. MFing to me is just whatever. I don't know. What do you think, Ziggy?
Character in Path of Exile was actually MFer. My absolute first character.
It's like MFing, if you take it out of the game, you're going to lose a lot of players because a lot of people like it. But at the same time, the other half of the community is like, finally, you know, it's gone. You can't really... It's hard to balance MF. It's really hard to balance magic finding.
I've always said that I'd like to see a league where, like a test league or a 1 month or something, where Magic Find was removed and drop rates were rebalanced accordingly.
I would love that. But then MFers would hate it, you know? It's like, you can't win.
I mean, that's why, just a one league, just to try, just to see. Maybe MFers would be like, hey, turns out that not just running the same boss over and over again is fun, or I can still keep running the same boss over and over again. The Magic Find is built into my character. Maybe. I mean, maybe not.
We all miss Man Ocean, and if we have one league without MF,
I do miss watching Man Ocean.
He'll never come back, guys. We need the MF.
Yeah.
I've seen him stream a few times. I've been looking at his channel, but he plays CS:GO and these days mostly.
I mean,
too much real life. He's like surfing and stuff.
Surfing. God.
He's enjoying sunshine and social life. God damn it.
I do miss Boy Polo.
I want him arbitrarily farming a boss over and over again. Playing
Honestly,
dance music.
Back on topic with MFing, it's just so important for these type of games. Like it's a loot-based game. People want to get more loot. It's so satisfying watching a loot explosion. It's very hard to balance that. Most of the rares you get are junk anyways. Most people aren't picking up all the rares they get from MFing anyway, so I don't know. What's our next question?
Yeah.
Opinions on Raise Spectre for Ghazzy specifically. Should we be able to imprint a specific mob onto the gem, thus locking the gem to that mob, or no?
We're talking about specters?
Yes, specters. So imprinting a specific mob type on the Spectre gem, presumably meaning you can summon them wherever without the corpse, I guess is the idea.
I would love that, but with some balancing around it, either with an intense cooldown to the
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, if you could just, like, your Spectres die and you can just resummon them whenever.
Yeah. I'm not just a global cooldown, like a really intense cooldown. When I'm saying that, I don't want it to be that in a boss fight you can resummon your entire set of Spectres during the fight. I don't want that, but I want them to be resummonable in a map when it's required, so you don't have to go out of the area, remove an entire portal to get a few minions back. I mean, that just brings me back to the 15-minute snapshotting. God forsaken. I'm so tired of that. But imprinting it, sure, but give it a 30 to 50, maybe even 60-second cooldown to resummon, and that would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, it'd be like marginally annoying when you first start out, right at the start, like when you log in for the day and you have to like summon your 3 Spectres or whatever. But well, I think it'd be worth it. Like, it's better than going to finding the corpses and everything. Summoner setup gameplay is pretty tedious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially when you're doing the leveling process, before your stuff actually survives, that's even worse. And well, since we're on to it, please just fix the mastercraft on rare chess pieces for the Animate Guardian. Who the hell would ever use that? Really? Just dropping the chess piece when you die? No. If you're gonna bench it, make sure it drops all the items. Then people would actually consider.
Yeah, agreed.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Maybe we'll see more than Dying Breath Learcast Animate Guardians in that case.
Oh no, we'd still be using it. It's just gonna be cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, how often does he die with minion?
Every time it dies.
As a classic summoner, because they buffed minion health quite a bit, how much does he have with minion life and across the board? How much life would he have in game? Like 45k? 40k?
Oh, on the Animate Guardian? Minion life?
Yeah, how much life does he have in a full setup? Like, with Dying Breath in the helmet, Learcast, and a good armor.
Like, how much? With the gear included?
Yeah, everything included in minion life, like 45, 50k health.
No, I only know how much he'd have if you put him in a +2 minion helmet, 45. Well, 45 is just mitigation, so minion life.
Just in an unset ring, for example.
And empower.
Without minion life, then, in that case.
With a rare chest, around... Well, just in an onset ring, with a rare chest and with a proper gear, I'd say around 40,000 HP.
That's pretty good. And how much regen is on the tree? Like 1.5 to 2%?
2 something, yeah. Something. I mean, I can get my Animate Guardian to have like 80,000 HP if I want to, plus 45. But I mean, I have 30,000 HP on him now. He's 21, and that's without the gear. He doesn't die. My Learcast Dying Breath Animate Guardian can pretty much solo everything as long as he has my auras. So, and he does no damage. But he does die if I'm not careful versus Ubertsuri. But that's after everything else has died and I've been dead for like half a minute. He doesn't need more life.
I think that's all we got time for. I was just curious on Animate Guardian.
Keep in mind, I'm actually using insane jewels for that character. I have minion life on every jewel I'm using, plus minion damage and minion block on most of them as well. It just took me 500 exalted crafting.
Gazzy, I thought you quit Summoners, man.
Yeah. Why are you itching your neck over there, Gazzy?
Moving on. We're doing Chaos Converters.
He'll get back when he dies again.
Actually releasing a build soon.
Well, we're about to do a little outro here, guys. So I want to thank Ghazzy and Karv for coming on here today as our guests. Ghazzy, if you want to give yourself a little shameless plug, shout out. Where can people find you? Where can people find you?
Sorry, on twitch.tv/Ghazzy. I have a YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/GhazzyTV. Releasing that new Chaos Damage build soonish. We'll be launching that over the Facebook and Twitter, which you can see on my stream.
Sweet. And then Karv, I know you stream a lot. Where can people go and find you?
You can find me in Twitch TV/Karvarousku Gaming. That's how you pronounce it, Zeno.
Oh.
And I also have a YouTube channel where I'm uploading all the races. Even though I might not stream them all, I'm gonna upload them. I have a playlist. It has like almost 50 races now from past and this season. And there's also videos of all the highlights from the Self-Found TI Melee Challenge character. There's some cool stuff there.
Sweet. I'm gonna go watch some of your race videos.
Yeah.
It's the best way to learn, really, is to start off with. Watch a couple good race VODs.
That's what I did from Karv's videos, actually.
And yeah, it's YouTube /Karvarousku Gaming.
What the heck does that even mean?
Karvarousku is a mushroom called woolly milk cap. Don't ask how it came.
You're Victor or something.
Of all the names.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like 10.
Aren't we always 10 when we come up with our names?
Yeah. The good old time of Messenger.
Anyways, guys, we're out. Alright, before we head, I'll try and say this. Karvarousku.
Karvarousku.
America right here. Whenever my, what's his name? This guy always tries to get me to say Danish words. I know the word for, what is it, onschool, and what's the other one you taught me? Airplane. It's flying machine. Yeah. So it's fluma schema. Fluma schema. There we go. See, I'm learning Denmark language over here.
Zeno. 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 You just completely disappeared. You gotta try to say, vad lär du med din tisse, man? Did you say that?
No, no, I cannot. I'm turning off the stream. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Had a good time. Catch you guys later.
Tavataan Fins Unite.
Oh my god.